This is Mr. William, and today we are talking about the moment your relationship actually ended. Not the moment you found out. Not the moment she admitted it. Not the moment you finally couldn't ignore it anymore. The actual moment it ended, which happened long before any of that, which happened quietly, in small ways, while you were still showing up every day thinking everything was fine, or at least fixable, while you were making excuses for her behavior and calling it understanding. Not while you were noticing things that didn't feel right and telling yourself you were overthinking it. The relationship ended long before you knew it ended, and the signs were there the entire time. Most men don't find out their woman is cheating because she confesses. She doesn't. Most men find out much later after the damage is already done, after months of living in something that had already quietly died. And when they finally look back at those months, they don't ask, "How did this happen?" They ask, "How did I miss this?" Because the signs were not hidden. They were right there. They just didn't look like what they expected cheating to look like. They looked like normal life, a bad mood, a busy week, two people going through a rough patch. So the man explained each one away, one at a time, until he ran out of explanations. That is what this is actually about, not the cheating itself. The cheating is almost secondary at this point. What this is about is the specific pattern of behavior that happens when a woman has emotionally left a relationship and started putting her attention somewhere else. Because a woman who is cheating is not just physically somewhere else. Long before that, she is emotionally somewhere else. She is already disconnected. She is already pulled back. She has already started treating you differently in ways that are visible if you know what you're looking at. And once you see the pattern, you cannot unsee it. So, if you are watching these signs in your relationship right now, understand something clearly before we go any further. You are not dealing with a woman who is going through something. You are dealing with a woman who is already gone. She just hasn't told you yet. Let's talk about why this happens the way it does. Because understanding the mechanism is what makes the signs make sense. Women do not cheat the way men cheat. A man can be completely present in a relationship, fully invested, genuinely in love, and still make one bad decision in a single weak moment. It happens. It is wrong, but it happens in a moment. Women do not work that way. When a woman cheats, it is never a single moment of weakness. It is always the final step of a process that started much earlier inside her head. Long before anything physical happened, she had already emotionally disconnected from you. She had already started pulling back from the relationship. She had already started investing her emotional energy somewhere else. The physical part only shows up at the end of that process, after she has already mentally and emotionally left. This is why you will not catch it by looking for the obvious things. You will not catch it in a single lie or a single strange night or a single unexplained absence, at least not right away. What you will catch is the emotional withdrawal that comes first, the pulling back. Or the slow disappearance of the version of her who was fully in this with you. And that withdrawal follows a pattern. It almost always follows the exact same pattern. The three signs we are going to walk through today are not random bad behaviors. They are three stages of the same process. The process of a woman who has already decided to leave, even if she has not said it, even if she has not done it yet, even if she is still standing in your kitchen every morning acting like everything is okay. If you are seeing all three of these signs consistently, you are not in a relationship that needs work. You are in a relationship that is already over. She just has not made it official yet. Sign 1. Her phone has become something she protects like her life depends on it. Let's get one thing out of the way first. Yes, everyone is on their phone too much. That is not the sign. The sign is not how much time she spends on her phone. The sign is what happens around her phone when you are nearby. Those are two completely different things. And if you are not paying attention to the difference, you will miss it every single time. Here is what it actually looks like. She used to leave her phone on the counter when she went to shower. She used to put it face up on the table during dinner. She used to charge it in the living room at night. Those habits are gone. Now the phone goes everywhere she goes. Into the bathroom, into the other room when she steps away to make a call. Dash face down on every surface when she's sitting near you. Always within arm's reach. Always locked. The phone has gone from something she carried to something she guards. Watch what happens when her phone makes a sound while you are in the same room. Watch her face, not the phone. There is a very fast, very specific reaction. She reaches for it before you could even think to glance at it. Not casually, with a kind of urgency that is just a little too fast. A little too deliberate for a simple notification. Or she does the opposite. She hears the sound and completely freezes, and pretends she didn't hear it at all, because picking it up in front of you would mean you might see the screen. Now, pick up her phone for any normal reason. You're trying to show her something. You grabbed it by accident. Watch what happens. If there is nothing on that phone she doesn't want you to see, her reaction is nothing. People with nothing to hide don't react. What you will see instead is immediate tension, an immediate reach. I got it. What are you doing? That kind of reaction is not normal. That reaction is the reaction of someone who is 1 second away from being caught, and their body knows it before their brain has time to say anything. And then there is the password. Either there is one now that wasn't there before, or it changed recently. She will have an explanation. People do change passwords. But a new password combined with a phone that never leaves her side, combined with the anxiety every time a notification comes in, is not 3 separate coincidences. It is one pattern with 3 visible pieces. Why this matters. A woman who is having conversations she should not be having cannot fully relax when you are near her phone. That is not a choice she is making. That is just how anxiety works. The fear of you seeing something lives in her body, Andrew, and it shows up in exactly these behaviors every single time. You are not looking for proof on the phone. You are looking at what her behavior around the phone is telling you. The anxiety itself is the sign, not what is on the screen. The anxiety around the screen. What you should do. Do not go through her phone. That sounds backwards, but here is the reality. If you go through it and find something, you have your answer, but you have also lost the moral high ground for every conversation that follows. If you go through it and find nothing, you feel like you are losing your mind, and she now knows what you suspected, and you become the problem in the relationship. Neither outcome helps you. What you should do instead is say exactly what you have noticed, without accusing. Something like, I have noticed you seem really protective of your phone lately. Not an accusation, an observation. And then watch her response, not her words. Her face, her body, the speed of her reaction, what she does with her hands. A woman who has nothing to hide responds to that observation with confusion or a simple explanation. A woman who has something to hide responds with defensiveness, with anger, with turning it immediately back on you. Those 2 responses are not the same thing, and you will know exactly which one you are getting before she even finishes her first sentence. Sign 2. She has stopped arguing with you, and that silence is not peace. It is something much worse. This is the sign most men get completely wrong because on the surface, it looks like an improvement. The argument stopped. There is no more tension. Things feel calmer. And men tell themselves, okay, we're past that rough patch. Things are settling down. We're in a better place. They actually feel relieved when what they are watching is not the relationship getting better. What they are watching is her not caring enough anymore to fight. Think about what arguing actually means in a relationship. When your partner argues with you, when they push back, when they get frustrated and say something, when they care enough to have the uncomfortable conversation rather than just letting something slide, that is investment. That is a person who wants the relationship to work well enough to fight for it to be different. Arguing is not a sign of a broken relationship. Arguing is a sign that someone is still in it. It is uncomfortable and it is not fun, but it is proof that the relationship matters enough to the other person that they are not willing to just let things be wrong. When a woman completely stops arguing, when things that used to bother her don't seem to register anymore, when she used to push back and now she just shrugs and says, fine, whatever, do what you want. She has not found peace with you. She has found a reason not to need things to be better. She is not planning to be in this long enough for it to matter whether things improve or not. So why argue? Why put energy into fixing something you are already mentally walking away from? The silence is not resolution. The silence is her checking out. What this looks like in real life. Sees you do something that 3 months ago would have started a whole conversation. She says nothing. You forget something she asked you to do. She handles it herself, and there is something cold in how she handled it. Something that used to be frustration and is now just emptiness. You bring up something that needs to be talked through between you, and she says, "Sure, fine, whatever you want." Not because she agrees, because she has already stopped being in this conversation with you. The subtler version of this sign, the one that hits harder once you see it, is that she stops keeping tabs on you. She stops asking where you're going. She stops noticing when you come home late. She stops wondering who you were talking to on the phone. That kind of attention, that kind of curiosity about where you are and what you're doing, it comes from caring. It comes from you still being her person. When that stops, it is not because she trusts you more. It is because your whereabouts have stopped mattering to her. You have stopped being the person she is oriented toward. Her attention is oriented somewhere else now, and there is none left over to point in your direction. Why this matters? A woman who is fully present in a relationship, who is genuinely happy and genuinely invested, does not go silent. She stays engaged. She stays curious. She stays frustrated when things are frustrating because she wants things to be good between you. That engagement does not just disappear on its own. It gets redirected. And when the emotional energy that used to be pointed at you and at this relationship is suddenly nowhere to be found, it is because it is being spent somewhere else, on someone else. The quiet in your house is not the quiet of two people who have found their rhythm. It is the quiet of a woman who is emotionally living somewhere you cannot see. What you should do. Stop interpreting the silence as progress. Stop filling it with nice gestures and planned dates, trying to get back to something that she has already moved on from. That approach does not work because the problem is not that things between you have gotten stale. The problem is that she is no longer invested in you at all. What you need to do is name what you are watching, plainly and directly. Tell her, "I feel like you have completely checked out of this relationship. I feel like you genuinely do not care what happens between us anymore." And say it, and then watch her face before she says a word back. A woman who still has anything real left for you will feel something when you say that. It will land. She will want to respond to it because it matters to her that you feel that way. A woman who is already emotionally left will look at you, and you will see in that split second before she says anything that she has been caught, not in a lie, in her absence. And she will either deflect, or she will turn it into something you did wrong, because those are the only two moves left when someone has nothing real to offer in response. Sign 3. Physical closeness has dried up, and a new excuse shows up every single time. This is the sign most men feel first, but explain away the longest, because every individual excuse she gives is believable. She is tired, she has a headache, work was brutal this week, she is stressed about something, she is not feeling well. Each one of those things, on its own, is a completely normal and valid reason. People get tired, people have bad weeks. So the man accepts the reason, gives her space, and tells himself things will get back to normal when life calms down a little. Except life never calms down. The reason is always there. It just changes its shape from week to week. When a woman is emotionally invested in someone else, she pulls back physically at home. It does not always stop all at once. What happens first is a change in presence. She is there physically, but she is not actually there. You can feel the difference. There is a version of being close to someone where they are genuinely with you and a version where they are physically present, but their mind is somewhere else entirely, where they are going through the motions just to get through it. You know the difference. You have felt the difference. That shift in presence, that feeling of her being somewhere else even while she is right next to you, is the first sign. Before the frequency drops, before the excuses start, the presence changes first. Then the frequency starts dropping, and the explanation is always ready, always something reasonable on its own. But here is what you need to pay attention to. The same woman who is too tired every night for you is not too tired for everything. She got dressed and went out with her friends and she had energy. She has been on her phone for 2 hours laughing at things and she has energy. She lights up in certain moments, and you can see it. She is just never lighting up in moments that involve being close to you. The tiredness is specific. It shows up in one direction. That is not exhaustion. That is avoidance with a polite explanation attached to it. And beyond the bedroom, the everyday physical stuff disappears too. The small things, the things that did not require any thought or decision, they just happened because two people who are close to each other naturally move toward each other. She used to touch your arm when she walked past you. She used to lean into you when you were sitting together. She used to reach for your hand without thinking about it. Those things are gone. She will still hug you hello or goodbye, but it feels quick, functional, like something she is doing because it is expected, not because she wants to. And you notice that. You probably noticed it a while ago and told yourself you were being sensitive. You were not being sensitive. You were picking up on something real. Why this matters? Physical closeness in a relationship is not just about sex. It is the constant, low-level signal that two people are still each other's. It is the thing that makes you feel like you belong to someone and they belong to you. It does not require big gestures. It lives in the small, automatic things. The hand on the back, the leaning in, the reaching over without a reason. When those things go quiet, it means the pull between you is gone. And when that is gone, while simultaneously she cannot let go of her phone and has stopped caring enough to argue, you are not looking at three different problems. You are looking at one problem. And some part of you already knows exactly what that problem is. You have known for a while what you should do. Do not beg. Do not explain how much you need this from her. Do not make it about your own pain in a way that puts pressure on her. Because that will not get you what you want, and it will confirm to her that leaving was the right decision. What you do instead is say what you have noticed, simply and without drama. I have noticed that we have been physically disconnected for a long time now, and I do not know why. That is the whole sentence. Then you stop talking and you watch what she does with that. A woman who still has any real investment left in this relationship will respond to that with something genuine. She will try to explain, or she will acknowledge it, or she will want to fix it, because it matters to her that you feel that way. A woman who has already moved on emotionally will deflect, will find a way to make it about your behavior, will get defensive in a way that puts you on trial for noticing. Those two responses are completely different, and you will know within seconds which one you are dealing with. Now here is what all three of these signs together are actually telling you, and why the relationship is already functionally over, even if nothing official has happened yet. If you are watching all three of these things in your relationship right now, a phone she treats like classified information, a silence that replaced arguments not because things got better, but because she stopped caring enough to fight, and a physical distance that keeps growing no matter what you do, you are not in a rough patch. You are not watching two people who need a vacation, or a better communication strategy, or a few good weeks to reset. You are watching a woman who has already emotionally relocated. She is already investing herself somewhere else. The relationship that exists on paper, the one you show up to every day, she is not in it the same way you are. She has not been for a while. And here is the thing most men will not admit to themselves. They already knew. Not in a clear, logical, I can explain it kind of way, but in that way where something has felt wrong for a long time and you could not fully name it, where the person next to you started to feel like a stranger and you kept pretending they did not, where you noticed the phone, noticed the silence, noticed her being somewhere else even when she was right there, and then worked very hard to explain it all away because the alternative was something you were not ready to deal with. That is not stupidity. That is a person trying to hold something together because the loss of it feels unbearable. But holding it together does not change what is already happening. It just means you are the last person to stop pretending. A relationship where you are constantly confused, constantly second-guessing yourself, constantly feeling like you are standing just outside of something you are supposed to be the center of. That relationship is already damaging you. Every day you stay in that confusion and call it working on things is another day you spend your time, your energy, your loyalty on something that stopped being real a long time ago. And that cost adds up. You will feel that cost later even if you cannot fully feel it right now.